So good morning all. Welcome to this session, Food Pro Summit 2022. This is the fifth session and we are on the third day of this Food Pro 2022. My name is Vikas Mandal and I am co-founder and chief marketing officer of SolutionBuggy. We have been associated with more than 10,000 experts all across India. And on the other hand, we have helped 60,000 prospective entrepreneurs and existing companies to solve their problems. After the COVID, we have focused primarily on food and food processing sector, and we have been trying to help and build entrepreneurship in India. And in fact, our aim is to have this mass entrepreneurship movement successful in India. We see a good trend. We see, especially in food processing sector, we have a lot of entrepreneurs and we have mentored a lot of entrepreneurs. We have done around 2,500 projects from miscellaneous sector, but food processing specifically in the last 2 years post-COVID has been the key sector for growth, not just for SolutionBuggy, but for India. Our platform is a manifestation of whatever is happening in India. We have an esteemed and very good experienced panelists today, and it's a mix of good experience, entrepreneurship, and also startups. So we'll start with Mr. Sanjay Sethi. First of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Sethi, who has got excellent experience and a stellar profile in food processing sector. So I'll just read out his introduction. Mr. Sanjay Sethi is a world-renowned impact investment leader and sustainable food expert. Over 3-decade-long illustrious career, Mr. Sethi has set up winning integrated supply chains in Africa, Middle East, Europe, Eastern Europe, South Asia, and in India. A leader of cross-functional teams, he rolled out large supply chain, sustainable food production, irrigation, agri-infrastructure projects. Mr. Sethi is currently the Executive Director of Plant-Based Food Industry Association, PBFIA, a CEO-led body representing and building a strong foundation for India's plant-based food companies, which produce high-quality plant-based alternatives to dairy and meat products. Along with Mr. Sethi is Ms. Aditi, who is Senior Manager in PBFIA, and she would be assisting Mr. Sethi during the presentation. So the main topics that Mr. Sethi is going to cover, I'll just explain, just go to the topics. And in the meantime, while Mr. Sethi speaks and gives his comments about what he starts his presentation, all the audience is requested to send their questions in the Q&A section of this. Might be a chat section is also okay, but Q&A section would be more, I would say, appropriate for this. So the topics that Mr. Sethi is going to cover is the market size of plant-based food industry, emerging trends in plant-based food industry, examples of innovative products, checklist and roadmap to start the industry, approximate budget required to start the industry. So welcome, Mr. Sethi. And if I missed anything, you can always add on it, and look forward to inputs. I request the audience to take the maximum out of his experience today.
Thank you, Vikas. Good morning, everyone. And it's such a great pleasure to be at the maiden summit of SolutionBuggy. And most of you would have heard the name of SolutionBuggy for the first time. And when I got the call, I also had heard the name for the first time. But this is how PBFIA operates. So supporting anybody who wants to come and support the sector. And I congratulate you, Vikas, you and your team, for taking this initiative on supporting the plant-based sector. So, and thank you, Aditi, for joining me in helping me in today's interaction. And I hope that we would be able to have a good presentation with all of you. And here is my screen. I hope you are able to see this. So,
yes.
Okay, great. So you're able to see the screen. And now we have titled it as a the dawn of a plant-based age. So why we are calling it dawn and not sunrise? Because this is a stage even before the sunrise. So it means that all the opportunities that are going to come in the plant-based food sector, we are well positioned to have the first mover advantage. It means that you have an amazing opportunity. It's once in lifetime opportunity to look at a sector even before the sector is formally well established. So right now, this sector is looking at a new science of isolating proteins from the grains and from oil seeds, from millets, and from various other products like nuts or even some cereals and legumes and all those amazing grains that are there, including in a country like India, we have such a rich biodiversity, and taking advantage of that, we can position ourselves uh, to capture the export opportunity, and that's why we written India to lead the way to world food security and nutrition. So it means that as a country, we have not just a great business advantage, but we also have the responsibility and opportunity to look at the opportunity of serving the food security sector as well as the protein revolution, which is happening all over the world. Sorry for that. I straight away went to the last part of my presentation. How did that happen? Just a moment. So this is the second slide, that why plant-based foods. As you have all heard about plant-based foods, but very few people have actually understood what exactly are the plant-based foods. It has different meaning for different people. For some people, it is something that which is made from plant only, and for some people, it is something which are replacing animal sources of foods. So the plant-based foods, as the name suggests, devoid of any other things uh, as far as the animal sources are concerned. So the plant-based foods are basically meaning that you replace animal sources of foods. So some of the things that which attract people towards plant-based foods are the fact that they are healthier, and they ensure that you do not get the additional load of bacteria, or you do not get the antibiotics through the animal sources of food. You don't get oxytocin or other growth factors which are there in the animal sources of foods, and you don't require that kind of a milk which is needed for the growth of a calf. So those people who are concerned about their health, they want to go plant-based, and some of them are even lactose intolerant. And then the other thing which is attracting towards the plant-based foods are the people who feel that we cannot overlook the fact that the dairy industry has changed today. Today, the male calf has absolutely no role to play. So as soon as the calf is 6 months old, it's sent for a slaughterhouse. So because there's no economic role for the calf left, there's no bull required for any transportation or any of those draft purposes.
Sethi sir, sorry to disturb. Actually, there is a request from the audience. A lot of people are saying that they want to see the full screen. They're not able to see the full screen. And second thing is they have requested you to be a bit louder, if it is possible.
Yes, sure. So I would like to say that the screen which is there.
Sir, sir, you can click on that. Yeah, that one, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to see the full screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the third reason that why people think that the plant-based foods are making sense, because of the sustainability and food security angle. Instead of feeding 9 kilogram to an animal and then getting 1 kilogram out of that, it is better that we feed directly humans through the plants. And in a country like India, where there is such a big problem of soil degradation, you are having a situation where the normal agriculture, when you pulverize the land, you lose the soil moisture, and when you lose the soil moisture, you lose the bacteria, and when you lose the bacteria, you have to put more fertilizer, and when you put more fertilizer, you again make the land more a bit of desertification starts. So as a result, the soil degradation happens, and when this downward spiral sets in, you have no other option but to see your land getting degraded and degraded. So one of the solutions which has been put forth is the plant-based, so that you don't have to put so much of agriculture. You are feeding all the humans directly. And as a result, there is a school of thought which says that there is so much of food available. If everybody was to go plant-based, you can actually feed as many as 9 billion people or 10 billion people today. So this is the logic. And we have seen just yesterday a big brand, that is the Beyond Meat, which kick-started this revolution. It came to India, and through Anana and the IFCO, and that means India as a market has become an attractive market. And we also saw that our favorite stars like Dhoni supporting Shakahari, and Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli supporting the Blue Tribe, and Imagine Meat is actually run by Ginelia D'Souza and Ritesh Deshmukh. So they are the couple who not only started it, and Starbucks started buying their vegan menu products from Imagine Meat that they started. So it shows us the kind of interest which is coming up in this sector. And ITC and Tata also jumped into this sector. And when such a big organization comes in, you tend to think that there must be something that which a common man is not able to spot. One of the reasons is that we as a country do not consume too much of proteins, and we do not consume too much of animal sources of foods. But the way they are becoming popular, it seems that we are eyeing a huge problem and of agriculture. And if everybody was to become non-vegetarian, we wouldn't have so much of land. So that's why it is understood that people will not only go plant-based, but the government also will start supporting the plant-based foods more and more, because it makes sense. As a country, we cannot have so much of land focused on animal sources of food, because you need a lot more resources. And as a result, not only the investors, not only the customers, not only the governments, the complete ecosystem is favoring the plant-based sector. And by 2070, our Prime Minister has already pledged that there will be a net zero of emissions. So plant-based, which is contributing to a major solution, because in one estimate, the greenhouse gas emission from the animal sources of agriculture is close to 10 to 20%. One estimate is 20%, as high as 20%. So that means if such a huge sector is causing the greenhouse gas emissions, that means we need to do something around this. So Promit is one of our members of PBFIA. Debu is here. He will talk more about this, that how a student entrepreneur came out with a amazing kebab and other plant-based meats products, and that Promit is going great guns, and Debu is there to talk more about that. So the market that we expect from $267 million currently, which is about 2,000 crores, to about $5 billion in the next 10 years. So there are one after another that we came out with these reports, and those reports are available to download from PBFIA website, or you can reach out to us through LinkedIn or through any other social media. So those reports are easily downloadable, or you can reach out to SolutionBuggy team. They would be very happily provide you all these reports. So in the bird market, while we will be adding $5 billion, there is a chance that there will be $50 billion worth of market in the next 10 years, which will open up. So India as a country has all these opportunities. So the technological innovations is been seen as one of the big trends, because it is very well understood that the processing which is being done today is excessive. And if we reduce the processing, it is lighter on our gut, it is good for our health. So how do we minimize the processing without bringing in the new science? So there's a lot of research which is happening, and as a result, the product will be still a little bit processed, but at the same time, it will be called as minimal processing, because it will not use chemicals, it will not use those things which render the product difficult to digest. It will increase the bioavailability of proteins and the foods, and yet it will be able to take advantage of the amazing new developments in the technology sector which are happening. And some of those could mean that by having enzymatic technologies, or instead of chemicals, probably using water, or maybe focusing on whole cuts instead of doing it on the nuggets, which are deep fried. And similarly, there is a opportunity for a country like India to look at other ingredients and not just focus on soy, or not just focus on pea, which are the popular ones. And for dairy right now, the popular is soy and oats. Now going beyond to millets or to pulses or to some other beef proteins, or mushrooms, or some even potato or rice, wheat, ham. There are so many opportunities which are available, and there are some minor millets as well. So those that work has to start. So one of the area which has been talked about quite a lot is sunflower, which is as a grain is likely to rise. Another area which I'm personally very bullish is sorghum, which is our own jowar, which I think humans are not competing in India for that product. So there is a possibility that it will always remain competitive. And because of lighter color and neutral taste and neutral aroma, so the aftertaste. So this has very multiple uses in plant-based meat. So that's another area which can work in. So here I would like to bring in my colleague Aditi. Aditi, would you like to explain these couple of slides?
Yeah, sure, sir. Right. So as you mentioned, there has been so many technological advancements in general. There has been so much research going on, and with the Indian market itself, we could see the market value as 40,000 crores. So it's huge. And across the globe, there has been a lot of work that has been happening. For example, with cheese, something that we were struggling with is giving it the similar quality to the current dairy-based cheese that we have. So the kind of work that has been going on is we have Prolamin technology that they are using a corn protein to give that a stretchy feel, the melting, the bubbling, so that we can put that on pizzas. So we can finally go to actually replacing the dairy cheese, because there is still a long way to go. We have replaced cheese, but there are still some elements that we are working on. So this advancement is again a big push, and there are other researchers going on as well to achieve that. And Alt Foods is an Indian brand itself. They are the world's first sprouted millet-based milk. So millet, like sir mentioned, it is India's superfood. We are trying to, next year is the year of millets. So we are trying to promote it across the globe. And these kind of products which make it easy for consumers to consume millets. instead of the whole cooking process. This can also help them directly consume millets in an easier way as opposed to cooking them fully. So this millet milk is an innovation on its own, and it has been greatly received by the consumers, where they're using simple techniques like sprouting, which enhances the flavor altogether instead of using the millets directly. And again, Ceasefire is again a company which is in India as well, and they are trying to develop whole cut seafood using 3D printing technologies as well as AI-based technologies. So that is a combination of the machinery, the technology, as well as using AI, which is artificial intelligence, so that they can enhance the process. So they are looking at the future, you can say, because artificial intelligence again is the future. So they are maximizing the utilization, and they are trying to build seafood, and the work in seafood is again very rare, and Ceasefire in India is doing great work in that domain. Yeah. Moving on to the various segments with the scope for innovation. So like we just touched, those were just a few areas. For example, the plant-based meat that we have, the dairy, and the seafood section. But here, if you look at it, there are multiple domains in which people can actually innovate. For example, there are specific kind of milks that we need for coffee, for beverages, for tea, that mix well and that can be used in cafes. So that is one domain people can work on. And addition of plant protein to usual snacks. For example, some time back we saw adding protein to khakra, adding protein to samosa. So these are the snacks that we consume on a daily basis. And since India is protein deficient right now, if in some way we incorporate the plant protein to the snacks, it is an easier way to increase that protein consumption easily. So this is the best way to go about it. And then again, plant protein supplements. This is something that is catching up big time in India and across the globe, in fact. Plant protein, when mixed with the right elements, they are easy to digest, and we need to work on, like sir said, the bioavailability as well. But plant proteins are again a great way to fulfill the protein consumption of Indians, and we can discover various ways in which we can utilize them as well. In fact, Tata themselves, they launched a plant protein recently. So every big company, they are also trying to foray into this segment with their plant proteins. And then of course, health related, we all know that plant-based foods are the answers to reverse diabetes. They are the answer to prevent cancer. So there are multiple diseases which you can resolve or prevent via plant-based foods, and we can explore that more because people will obviously be attracted to the health domain. Then pregnant and lactating women, again, that is a market segment wherein, like we said, the millet-based milk or these healthy products that we have in plant-based, this is a great segment which we can target. Moving on to the bottlenecks. So of course, when we talk about plant-based, like sir said, it is the dawn of a plant-based age. So we still have a long way to go, and there are certain bottlenecks which we are trying to constantly resolve with PBFI as well. We are trying to constantly work on these sections. For example, the sodium content in the products that we have, we can try to reduce those so that they are in line with the guidelines that are in place right now. Again, nutritional bioavailability, like I just spoke about plant proteins, like sir mentioned about the bioavailability. If we make all these more bioavailable to our body, people will tend to consume plant proteins more. So this is again a direction that we can work towards. And burst the myths that plant proteins are not sufficient. Fix the research gap. Of course, since this is new to India, there is a lot of research gap that is present. There is a lot of work that we can do. For example, the cheese that we just mentioned, if we are able to crack that sector, in terms of dairy, the different segments that we just mentioned, if we're able to crack that, in terms of understanding the consumers. So for example, sir just mentioned about Alana getting Beyond Meat into India. Now they understand the meat segment in India outside. So they will be able to judge what the consumers want. That is the kind of research that we need all across India. So we give people what they need. Then coming to development of holistically nutritional products. So of course, just focusing on proteins and creating let's say a protein supplement, which is not bioavailable or not easily digestible for the human body, that will not be good for the long run. So we need to think about the future, and we need to create products that are whole on their own. So if we sir often talks about herbs as well, that if you can combine the herbs in the proteins and make it more digestible, for example fenugreek, ginger, it'll make it a holistic product on its own. So that is what we can work towards building. And reduction of overall costs, of course there is this is the talk of the town, that the products can be expensive at times, and there are a lot of reasons behind it. Of course technology is also one of them. That is why localization of technology is necessary, because once we start having it all in India, we'll be able to reduce the costs quite a bit. The summit, this was the first plant-based summit. In fact, we were just talking to Debavrata as well, who is our sir's fellow speaker here. He was also one of the attendees. And if you can see the Minister of Food Processing Industry, Shri Prahlad Singh Patel, he was there himself. And the Secretary of APIDA, Dr. Sudhanshu, was there. And we had a huge audience. We had more than 2,000 registrations, 420 plus delegates out there. And we had a whole session with investors, scientists, chefs, students, and tastings as well. So it was a grand summit which we are planning to have again in the month of May next year. Speaking about the international partnerships, so would you like to take this up? Because
so as the name suggests, PBFIA is part of International Plant-Based Food Working Group. So the International Plant-Based Food Working Group is a coalition of various plant-based food associations. So India is firmly placed as one of the founding members of this body, along with US and Canada and UK, China, and also Mexico. So this is a work that we are doing internationally. And we had a very innovative campaign called Plant-Based Navratri campaign. And yesterday we appealed to all the 100,000, 1 lakh restaurant in the major cities in India to go plant-based and introduce the vegan menu. So by interacting with the chef community, restaurants and hotel industry, we are encouraging them to make the supply available so that whoever wants to have plant-based foods. For example, there are people who are just looking for dal, not necessarily dal makhani. So or maybe they want to put makhan, which is not made from dairy milk, but which is made from plant-based sources. So this is not something which is a new development. We had margarine kind of products since last more than 2-3 decades. So there are different kind of people who are who are looking for products which are not necessarily sprinkled with the dairy protein or dairy paneer or dairy cream. They just want the normal products. So very easily they can be completely made vegan or plant-based. And moment we will do that, such a huge market will open up. So maybe 10 or 20% of the food industry, which would probably make it about 1 lakh crore or 2 lakh crore, or maybe even more than that, would become plant-based in absolutely no time. So that's the kind of opportunity that we have, and that's why we are working through the taste and through the chefs. And this is another impact we had with the IHM Mumbai Institute of Hotel Management as a part of Plant-Based Navratri campaign. There was a chef competition which was organized not just in K.R. Mangalam University, but also in IHM Mumbai. And there were so many other colleges like NIFTEM, which is a food technology college, and also Manipal or TDU or Haryana Agriculture University or SGT University or ISEP, so many colleges. And we have been going to such colleges even before the Navratri. Our interaction in IIT Delhi or our interaction in IIM Bengaluru. Devu keeps going to IIT Bombay. So all those interactions are actually expanding the plant-based agenda. And this is in Imperial School of Agribusiness in Greater Noida. So these are the 3 reports that we recently published: the Dawn of Plant-Based Age, And we chose the title for today's conversation also. And the other two reports are with our partners, Insight Partners, as well as FMI. So with this, I am at the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for your time.
So thank you, Mr. Sanjay. It was an excellent presentation covering all aspects. And I really appreciate the work that you guys are doing, building the whole ecosystem around this industry. In fact, how the industry is also developing, same is the trend, and you are the supporting force behind this. So it's a great initiative, and I congratulate for you for that. I have a question before we go to the next panelist. Is we see, an industry which is coming into shape. However, if some entrepreneur wants to enter at this stage, what kind of risk or what kind of volatility risk or changes in public policy or certifications would be there as we go forward? Does he take a risk by entering into this industry or he doesn't? What is your opinion about it?
I think it's a very interesting question because we were recently finding out that some of our members, they have taken the license from FSSAI to operate in one state, but some of them are operating in more than one state. So we had to point it out to them so that they take a central license and not just the state license. And in spirit of that, we are organizing a series of interaction with the food regulator, that is Food Safety Standards Authority of India. But Indian government has become very easy to deal with. So as a result, taking the registration with FSSAI is totally hassle-free. And you can also take their training, which is worth available for 500 rupees Foxtrot training, or it's not very expensive, I mean to say. So there's a lot of knowledge now available, and more videos are being generated that the regulation is not the issue at all. The issue is taste. Issue is ensuring that we make products which are similar to the taste of meat and dairy. Otherwise, the non-vegetarians will not switch back to vegetarianism. And if they will not do that, they will continue to love the taste of meat and chicken and their Rogan Josh. That it will become difficult for us to handle a situation, because we cannot control or we cannot dictate to anybody what they should be eating. But at the same time, we can provide incentives, or we can make the whole thing easy by making such sumptuous, nutritious, wholesome, amazing looking, and also with good aroma foods, which are not just matching the taste of meats, but also there are some new innovative products. For example, tempeh, or for example, some of the pickled plant-based foods. So those are the things which are needed, which are good for your gut, and which are also good. They make sense, and they are not going to be expensive, because one of the products that Aditi mentioned was the dairy creamer. So if you have a plant-based dairy creamer to make your tea and coffee, you don't have to make so much of water into your milk and then transport all that. You can have a very concentrated capsule, which can be transported easily with you can save so much of money, which is actually an advantage over the dairy industry. So by taking advantage of such logistics cost, you can actually have a cheaper product than the dairy, which is not possible today. Today, dairy milk is available at 60, and plant-based is as double the cost. So while we work with the government to reduce the cost and make the life simpler, but we are very happy with what the government has done on the regulation side, which is not a problem at all.
Okay, so thanks, which gives I would say, relief to many investors who would have come, or a lot of prospective entrepreneurs who want to enter this industry, because if there is I would say, less risk, especially which is out of control, because there is something related to products quality that is in the control of the entrepreneur himself. However, if there is something in the environment, policy environment, which changes, then it makes a big risk. So good to know that the risk here is very less, which will of course motivate a lot of entrepreneur here. So I'll come back to you. I have so many questions, but I think I'll come back to you after finishing all the speakers. So we now move to our next speaker. speaker, Mr. Devrata Das, who is a young entrepreneur, and just I came to know he's just 24 years old. So I'll just read out what about him. Just give me a second. So Mr. Devrata Das is the co-founder of Pro Plant Food Private Limited. His vision with Pro Plant Food was to innovate in the food and agriculture space and to create a positive impact through the same. He is a visionary leader and a team builder, known for injecting creativity and a different perspective to how we can solve the challenges faced because of the current food systems. He is a food techno manager and spent time working on plant-based products with his team and went on emerge victorious in the India Smart Protein Innovation Challenge by the Good Food Institute India. He also worked with GFI India, which is again the Good Food Institute team, and GFI India Fellow, and also EIR Fellow at IIT Kanpur. Currently, team is based out of IIT Bombay and working on their innovation to disrupt the plant-based ecosystem in India. He believes in creating sustainable world and higher food security and lesser environmental damage through their product line. So welcome, Devrata. I would rather like to have a question and answer session with you because you are more like an entrepreneur, and people who are thinking of starting over here will learn a lot from your journey. So can you just briefly talk about your entrepreneurial journey and the growth story of your company?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Vikas. I think the entire perspective of the industry, Sanjay sir already mentioned each and everything about the plant-based industry. I will go through my journey, how exactly we develop the product and where exactly we are right now. So we are a pro meat team. We promote meat's nutrition, but in a sustainable and animal cruelty free way. So we want people to have that nutrition, but in a different format, not by killing the animals. So what exactly happening in the entire industry? If you see like 1x is the production rate, but the demand is around 10x, but there is a 9x of gap. Where exactly it's coming from? So it's totally coming from the factory farming. So we are pushing the like factories to build the entire food system for us. It's not sustainable, right? So that's exactly we started out, and our mission and vision is basically uh, it's not giving not even only a singular formula out of the any animal format, but like starting from beef, chicken, pork. So we start replicating all the forms of meat so that we can able to cater all the demands starting from the meat industry, whether it's India or the globally. So we're trying to developing all the forms of products where exactly we can take it to the as a global market as well. So how exactly my journey started? It's basically I was in second year and I was looking after the entire space, what exactly happening in the USA. And at that time, these terms like alternative protein, smart protein, it was like very crazy. Like very few people understand what exactly it is, that what the technology behind it. So I start deep diving more into it, and in the Nifty itself, we start developing the product. So while developing the product, like faced a lot of challenges at that point. So at that point, very few ingredient suppliers are there, very few manufacturers are there, where exactly we can get the information in, very few data. But we try to import different ingredients, different products to my university and try to develop like to see what exactly it is and how exactly we can done. After that, like we create an initial prototype, and while developing that, I get a chance to work with GFI India so as a fellow. So during that time, I get to know about the industry, start connecting with all the stakeholders. So it helped me a lot to understand the industry better, as well as to look after who is coming, what exactly they are doing, what the technology behind it. So there is not a single form of technology you can say to develop any of the product, but it's a multiple folds of innovations is going on in the back end side. You might say ki plant-based burgers seems like very simple and easy, right? But in the back end side, a lot of technology is being involved in it to develop the entire range of product range. So this is what exactly. So during my university days, I've developed the product. I showcase it to Indian ecosystem. Which is the challenge? Which is talking about the Smart Protein Innovation Challenge. So after winning that challenge, we got some grant like as a prize money. So with that money, we start developing more on it, and then we took the product to the international level. We took part in Smart Protein Summit in globally, and then we backed by Unilever. And in that challenge, we like at that time we get the understanding that yeah, our product has some validation in the market, and there is a good opportunity we can look it forward. And after that, I took that challenge and started taking the product to commercial level. Then I take the university pilot plant as a rent, and I start developing the product there itself as a commercial scale. Then start giving sampling to restaurant chains, cafes, to starting from Delhi, Bombay, so different regions. And that's the exactly kickstart my journey. And while doing so, a lot of players already come in the market. They already educated it. And during that time, so we got some government grants. We got very government is really very supportive in terms of like entrepreneurial journey. We got a lot of support from the Startup India side, from Government of India, DST, and that's how exactly my journey has been till now. And now we are at a market. We are giving to B2B segment. Product range start from burger patty, nuggets, kebab, raw meats in a mutton format and chicken format, both the formats. And in the D2C, we're launching next month, which is burger patty, nuggets, and kebab. So that's what basically we are.
So Devrata, how big is your team, and how many production sites you have, and how much customer do you cater to?
Yeah, so in the D2C side, we have currently not launched yet, but in the B2B, we have around 78 customers at this point. It depends on the customer basis. Like basically, for example, some cafes have around 15 outlets, some cafes have 20 outlets. So it depends how it goes. So all total, we have 75 outlets which are currently catering to. And my team is around 7-member team with 4 full-time and 3 part-time. So like that we're doing.
So a 7-member team catering to 78 outlets is what you are saying.
Yeah, we outsource a lot of things. We do like we focus on our forte. What exactly our forte is? Our forte is on the tech side. So
Okay.
whatever is required for the starting of supply chain and all, we outsource it directly.
Okay. And how much time does it take to develop a product and to put it in the market? And how much investment generally is required? So, for example, I have a product in my mind and I want to, put it in the market. So, what are the different steps, and how much investment is required, and how much time in general?
Yeah, sure. So for that, you need to first understand like what kind of product you want to develop. We can't say a chap is as a plant-based product, right? We can't claim it as a plant-based. We can, but it's not the benchmark of the product. So you need to understand like what kind of product you want to replicate. So accordingly, the technology, the investments comes in. So for example, like as a normal product, if you see with burger patty and nuggets, you need to put on around for a setup of plant around 30-40 lakhs. Its investment is required for initial batch of like production line. And for product development side, initially we put a lot of money for that because very few players are there. We work with ingredient suppliers to develop the different recipes starting from flavor. So a lot of ingredient suppliers are there who have done a lot of job now. So we put around 6-7 lakhs in terms of like product development side. But for now, I think within like 3 to 4 lakhs of investments, people can able to do that. For initial product development and a commercial level, it's a different way to go now.
Yes. You spoke about the gap of capacity. You said that the demand is 10x and the production is 1x. So to reach to 9x, I think it will take a lot of time for a startup to organically grow and bridge this gap. So do you think there is a scope for a bigger player who can quickly take it from production X level to say 9x level in 2 years and take it forward? Or do you think there is a place for a small niche player also in the market?
Okay, so the point which I mentioned before, it was about the meat industry. So naturally, if you grow any animal, we can't like if a baby borns, we can't claim ki like within 2 years you start like claiming it is a 10-year guy, right? We can't do that. It's not possible yet. So, but we are doing in the meat industry. एक hen को directly we push antibiotics and we start growing कि वो market ready हो जाए so that they can sell it, right? But that's not sustainable at all. So that's what I'm saying कि in the industry, if you see like there's a 10x demand, but naturally grown meat is only 1x. But there is a 9x of difference which is being covered by factory farming. So that's not sustainable at all. And if we talk about the plant-based meat industry, there's ample amount of opportunity. Now, very few brands are there. Like large companies are coming in, very big brands starting from ITC. So a lot of brands already being in the market. But I see there's a huge demand. It's developing. not only in India and globally as well. So we can be a good export hub, starting from catering to Middle East or different regions. But I see the market is growing very, very rapidly.
Okay, but I would like to say that taste or of food is very, very personal. So
Yeah.
by making it more sustainable and giving a standard product, how are we going to cater to the needs? So I see, especially in food sector, an opportunity for smaller companies giving solutions or launching products for localized consumption. But
Yeah.
how do we cater to the same product over say a bigger population or bigger geographical area?
So in India, it's very difficult because if you go to Punjab, they have different recipes. They have different way of consuming it. If you go to Maharashtra, it's very different. But the base is very much similar. So with that base, you let the chef to do the creativity. You don't need to like push hard to do that in different way. So there are some product which you can go for, like nuggets, burger patty. It's a standalone product. It can go to any region, anywhere, right? So that is, but India people don't like that format food mostly, but they look for chicken kebab, like different kebab formats or like curry formats, right? So that's what exactly comes in, the innovation comes in. So I see uh, what to say, like, see, market, there is a huge market is coming in, but we need to cater what exactly we consume regularly, and then only we can able to do that. And how exactly meeting the taste and how exactly like giving them the education. It's no need to like put the education forward. What I believe, what exactly we are doing, we're giving the same product at the same texture and taste. And it's up to you now whether you want to consume a sustainable way or want to consume in a different format. But eventually, if you have the right taste, right texture, at the right appeal of the umaminess, you'll definitely move to plant-based, hopefully.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
I would like to know again, from your personal experience, what are the challenges you have faced in your entrepreneurship journey? How long it has been? When did you start this? And what are the different challenges that you have faced so far?
Yeah. So I registered my company in 2021. So first challenge I face is basically on the information side, because at that time very few papers, very few articles used to get where exactly you can get a lot of information about it. First, and secondly, whatever we are developing in the lab scale, it's not commercially viable. So for example, I was initially working on electrospinning, but electrospinning, we are getting good result in the lab, but in the, if we go to the commercial scale, it's not feasible. So we talk to different big agencies and they're working on it. Like some universities from Netherlands, like Wageningen University, Unilever set up their own facility there. They're working on shear cell technology, like electrospinning. So a lot of like behind technologies, like people are working on. So that's the main thing. Like whatever we work in the lab scale, but it's not feasible in the like commercial scale. So then we like start understanding how exactly we can do that existing meat line, which is already being existed in the Indian industry, how it can be used to make plant-based. Because the equipment, everything is very much similar. So how exactly we can use it? So after that, we come up with a solution line that it can be done. Then we worked on the recipe, then we make a format, and now like it's feasible to take your production to any of the location, like which is being already used at the meat industry. That same equipment can be used for making different range of plant-based products. So that is a different format of challenge we faced. Then we faced like basically market education and the right talent. So what happening is very few people are there who have the understanding about the plant biology and the plant protein, like how to extract the protein and how exactly it can be used in a different formats. So in India, we have different form of lentils, different form of cereals. But if you see globally, only two ingredients are there which are dominating the entire industry, which is like soy and pea. But in India, we have range of cereals and pulses which can be used as a different formats of using in plant-based meat products. So I see it right talent pool is required for now to take this move forward. And then and in terms of that, initially when we started in 2021, at the time, very few commercial lines are available. And now if you see like large companies have set up their own plant, extrusion line is already being set it up. So people are working on making the strips out of it. So a lot of innovations is going on in the in the back at the industrial level, as a commercial level.
Okay, great. So, with 24 years, I see it's a very good experience and a great work
Hopefully.
that you've done so far. Very good.
Thank you.
So, I
Yeah.
also want to know from you, there are questions coming up related to the cost competitiveness. So, if we are replacing an existing product, say meat, and then changing it to a plant, of course, taste should be similar. That is what we have to ensure. But how much cost sensitive it is, this market is, and will we be able to meet that cost at which they are getting, or will we be able to even reduce the cost that we are getting?
I think yes, definitely yes. Why exactly? It's on the volume side. As the industry is just started up, now we are giving the product at around 1x of the price. Like basically, for example, my production cost is coming, for example, 400 to 500 rupees. 400 rupees is coming in, but I can able to sell it around 1,000 rupees or $1,000 or 1,100, right? But if you see as a final product like McCain, which is like selling the products, it's coming around 600 to 700 rupees. If you see the final packet side, I'm talking about the per kg basis. So there is not much gap. There's around 200 to 300 rupees of gap, which can be minimized. It's definitely gonna be hit to the market, which like it totally balance out, because we are not using any very costly ingredients. Why exactly now the cost comes in is basically we are importing a lot of ingredients from outside. As in the back end, lot of manufacturers are there who is working on it, who is working on extraction machines. They're setting up their own plants. When we'll get our ingredient within India, our cost will definitely gonna hit the entirely the what exactly you're getting in the meat industry. So that's I'm very sure. If you see the global trend, it's happened. Like a lot of the like different countries have already benchmarked their price apart with the meat industry. So I say there won't be any there's a possibility to do that, but it will take some time, around 4 to 5 years, maybe down the line.
Okay. Okay, fine. So again, the question is that, okay, we are talking about developing a product. We developed the product. We are able to meet the costs associated with it. But then the question is, how do we design the machineries? From where do we get the experts to design those machineries? Or even going one step back again, when we want to, okay, there's a person who has got, say, 20 lakh rupees. He's interested to develop a product, but where will he get the researchers? From where will he get the technology? Does he need to do it on his own, or does he need to hire somebody to do that research? This is first. The second thing is around commercializing. While they commercialize, who is going to design the machineries and who is going to manufacture those machineries? So who is going to set up those machineries and how the first production will happen? Because you won't see a lot of plants like this, because the market itself is new, the industry itself is new. So from where will we get all this information?
Yeah, very good question. So we are initially face the same problem. So to address this question, I want to understand 2 3 things first. So first you need to understand what kind of product you want in the market first, and then you need to figure it out key who all are their existing players who can help me out. For example, now lot of ingredient suppliers are available, starting from DuPont, Givaudan, like lot of ingredient suppliers are there, so they will help you out to develop the product. So you can get an initial benchmark, but we are fortunate enough to get the facility at NIFTIM. So at the NIFTIM, I have the entire lab facility to develop the product. So we have done our own, because being a food technologist, I have that expertise, or my team has that expertise to develop the product range. But for outsiders, it's a bit difficult. So I think they need to go for like talent pool. They need to hire some people who already have some experience in this industry. But I can definitely say that it's not a rocket science. If you start doing it, you can able to do it very rapidly. Like now, I think you can develop any set of products within 3 to 4 months. It's possible. But if you want something very extraordinary, if you want something very different, then you need to put a lot of effort in terms of like the equipments and all. And now it's come where exactly you'll get the equipment. So it depends. Like for if you want the extrusion, so there is only one company like who give the best extrusion. It's Buller, and Buller is like recently set it up their pilot facility at TDU in Bangalore, and now they're also set it up one of the big facility in India. So like investments are coming in, like everything puts on an investment side. So the entire supply chain, entire backend need to be ready to take any product in the market at a different price bandwidth. So I see like investments are coming in, lot of players are already being in the market. So I don't think, and PBFA is also there, GFI is also there. So they are helping a lot in terms of like developing the ecosystem, being the bridge between the suppliers to manufacturers to consumers to marketers. So if we come together, it's possible that very like easily we can able to meet the demand which is coming in the India.
Okay, so I would like to pause right now because
Sure.
there are so many questions again coming in my mind, and also I see a lot of questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you.
For
So
sure.
we'll now go to our next speaker. She is Mrs. Arpita Doshi. So I'll just read out her introduction. So Mrs. Arpita Doshi, by education, she's a biotechnologist and microbiologist, passionate about research and innovation. Ms. Doshi holds 10 patents and 1 publication in international journal. Ms. Doshi has been facilitated by many leadership awards like Business Leadership and Gujarat Women Leadership Award. So we are fortunate to have Mrs. Doshi here in this forum, because I see a lot of achievements, I see a lot of experience coming along. So welcome. So I think you have a presentation to make. I'll just let the audience know which topics are you going to cover in that. So the topics that you are going to cover in this would be, just give me a second. Yes. So the market size, she will be taking care of the nutraceuticals food market trends, the emerging trends in this area, examples of innovative products. She will also talk about entrepreneurial journey and the growth story of her. She will talk about the challenges that she has faced and in marketing and manufacturing of these products. So if I missed anything, you can add on it. And welcome for this Food Pro webinar.
Thank you so much, Vikas, and thank you so much, SolutionBuggy, for inviting me. It was lovely listening to Mr. Sanjay Shetty sir also regarding how the plant-based ecosystem is developing, and Debrata, who just shared how his story was. So it's really nice, and it's very inspiring too. Okay, I'll just start sharing about, now we come to nutraceuticals. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Yeah. So hello everyone, good morning. And I myself, Arpita Doshi, and I'll be talking about how nutraceutical and functional foods, that are the new trending foods that have come up inside the health segment, and how they can help you to overcome and prevent many chronic diseases that we are facing right now. So if we see how nutraceutical industries came out, the first thing was that pharmaceutical industries were more concerned about treating a disease, and they had a specific active ingredients that were identified through lots of research, development, clinical trials, and everything that can help you to cure that disease. However, if we see, COVID was just an acceleration event that we saw, that there are no further treatments available in pharmaceutical industries that can be prevented, that can cure our future diseases which are arising because of this chronic disease like diabetes, cardiovascular, cancer, obesity, mental disorders. All have started because of our dietary habits, our lifestyle choices, and most importantly is the stress that has engulfed inside our lifestyle. So these are the factors that are going beyond our controls, which is affecting our health at the later stage of our life, around in 40s, when we start facing more and more financial responsibilities and economical social responsibilities too. So nutraceutical industries was at that thought about giving you a nutritional support that can help you to prevent some diseases that are arising due to nutritional deficiency, as our dietary habits have gone more onto processed or ultra processed food and convenient food. So that's where this industry saw a huge growth. We also see that iron deficiency is engulfing right now in women's in India, causing a real heavy burden on the way we are getting the future of our population would be. So iron deficiency is something that is a big challenge, and people are struggling to cure that iron, as supplements that are available are not easily bioavailable inside our body when we consume. So bioavailability is always a biggest challenge that the industries are facing. How did this functional food industry came? If you see the functional food industry, our market size is growing from 93 billion to predicted to 137.3 billion in 2026, which is what? Functional foods are foods that help you to give a secondary metabolite, which a primary nutrition cannot fulfill. Like iron you can get, but what is the active ingredient in the food that will help you to absorb that iron? I'll give you for an example. If you have heard of many antioxidants that are present, we are getting deficient of antioxidants because in processed food, mostly antioxidants are eliminated due to its heat sensitivity. So this is the reason why food has started becoming more damaging foods rather than becoming more healing food. So functional food concepts comes inside because it was innovated and it was thought about in Japan in 1983 when the functional food concept came. They were the first country to give a functional food terminology to the world. They found, and there is a very well set up regulatory system also for functional foods. These foods are basically bringing you all the aspects that are primary, along with the primary nutrition components, they also bring in the secondary metabolites, which are the antioxidants that are responsible to manipulate your cellular health and help you attaining your healthy lifestyle. So basically, I'll talk about what was the difference between a pharmaceutical and a nutraceutical. Pharmaceutical was completely synthesized inside a lab because they have to treat a disease, so they had to do a lot of extraction process and stuff. So it was synthetically designed inside the lab. Whereas in nutraceutical, we see the medicines are being manufactured using common ingredients that have been recognized by our body before even our birth. So like from ancient time, we have been consuming food. Like we talk about millets. Millets was there during ancient time. The normal staple diet was not bread or pizza or pastas, but it was more like a jowar roti or bajre ka roti and stuff like that. So that's the reason why nutraceutical industry, they use such common ingredients to help you, give you a preventive cure. In terms of targeting, pharmaceutical normally targets your specific disease. Like if you have some specific disease pertaining to, say for example, caused by bacterial infections, then they have a specific bacteria that is identified to cause that infection, and they make such disease, such medicines that will help you to reduce those bacterial growth inside your body. So it was a very target specific to one certain disease. Whereas nutraceutical is your overall wellness. It is not pertaining to only just one disease, but it gives you an overall wellness thing. In terms of functionality, pharmaceutical is treating a disease, whereas nutraceutical is preventing, because preventing is now more necessary as it is costing a lot of economic burden on a person in their life. So the healthcare cost is increasing day by day, for which we now need is a preventive cure rather than a treating cure. In terms of regulations, pharmaceuticals have a very strict regulatory requirements. They need FDA approval prior to selling. They need a lot of clinical trials, which are highly expensive. However, with nutraceutical, FSSAI is there to help you, and FSSAI is the body which you, as it was mentioned before, it's very easy to attain the license, and it's quite simpler nowadays. So that's the thing why nutraceutical industry is pacing up more faster pace than what the pharmaceutical industry is right now is having. In terms of our emerging trends for nutraceutical, if we see, there was a baby boomer generations who used to love luxurious products after our Second World War, because at those times they were very hardworking, and when they started earning, they used to like all these products that were giving them some happiness, or luxurious products. So that's when the fizzy drinks and stuff started. However, they realized that over a period of time, now they are seeing that those habits costed them to spend more on their healthcare cost, which is why they are now launching for healthy longevity, healthy aging. People want to live longer, but they want to live healthier. So that is the reason why nutraceutical products have got better options, because they are preventing you from getting engulfed on those chronic diseases. So that rise in this chronic diseases, rising healthcare cost, demanding healthy aging, awareness on how pharmaceutical medicines have their own side effects too. And just recently we came to know that India is right now grappling with AMR, which is an antibiotic resistance issue. So this is where the problem, nutraceutical industries have a better option, and they have a better growth prospect in compared to what the pharmaceutical industries have. And secondly is that increasing in convenience food, demand in convenience food. So convenience food has become highly essential part of our lifestyle because of our hectic lifestyle. Like men and women both have to work together. So there is no luxury of women being at home and looking after just a family and their needs. It is now that they both have to work. So this is the reason why convenience food have started rising and is in demand. Some innovative products that are there inside the market. We have seen liquid capsules were there just recently, also along with liquid capsules, because you see, when it comes to bioavailability, just having one form is not enough. Sometimes the dilution that needs to be made, like for example, a powder is there, it has to be diluted either inside a water or inside an alcohol. So based on that, we have based on those bioavailability parameters, they have also started innovating capsules which has got both. So the emulsion is also there and the powder. So active ingredient and the emulsion both can be mixed. So half liquid, half powder capsules have been there inside the market. For kids who are very fussy about their food and they are very fussy about what they are eating and they're not having enough nutrition, so the gummy bears, which is like just a chocolate or a confectionery that the kids would love, so those taste, after analyzing those taste bud and their requirement, gummy bears have also started coming inside the markets, where you get vitamin C, calcium and stuff like that for those nutrition for their growth. There are some snacks bar which are rich in protein, rich in nuts. They have a whole grains also, and they also have some of them also are comprising of dietary fibers, which helps you to bring a complete awareness inside your complete wellness factor inside your body upon consumption. So it becomes more compatible to your inner body requirement and gives you a touch of a personalized nutrition as well. There are functional beverages, which I'll be talking about, that what we did and how did we develop those functional beverages, on what were the problems faced. There are some effervescent tablets. You see, most of the time we have seen that for acidity or bloating, we are consuming some enos and stuff that is there. But nowadays, even vitamin C effervescent tablets are coming, which gives you an immediate absorption ability when consumed inside your body, to give you a fast effect, a fast seeing effect, feeling and seeing effect. Like you see Disprin, you have to dissolve it inside a water, and then that fizz that comes, and then you drink that water, so your headache will be gone in a few minutes of time. So this is where this innovation and new products are getting developed inside the market, helping you. And just recently, very recently, hemp supplement. Hemp is also known as marijuana, and it was not yet recognized, but recently US FDA has recognized hemp supplement, and they have given a signal that yes, we can now develop hemp, we can grow hemp in our farms, and we can help to make more supplements. Hemp supplements, I'll talk about it, is a CBD is the abbreviation that they use, which is a cannabidiol. It is an active ingredient of cannabis, and it is usually sourced from hemp plant. And hemp supplements have also been, scientists are working to treat the neurological disorders that are happening and engulfing right now. Those neurological disorders, like if you see Alzheimer's are there, dementias are there, the amount of burden that is rising in our senior citizen population is also a huge burden. So if such natural supplements are there which are compatible to your body, as I said, that secondary metabolite, if that can work on your cellular level, definitely you have a better option in preventing those diseases and reducing your healthcare cost. So just as I was mentioning that FDA have recently approved Epidiolex, which is containing hemp CBD. Now, CBD, it is said that there are two important components in hemp. One is the delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol content, which has to be very low, because that's where you get that marijuana is having it functions in two ways. One, it is like a drug that gets you addicted. So if you have those addicted component reduced to just 0.3%, you can use it as a supplement to treat a disease. So every ingredient, so this is how the nutraceutical industries is working, that they extract the good part and they use it as a supplement and give you in order to help you attain your overall wellness. Now it comes to like what we do. So when I'll start with a very small story that happened with my own personal experience. I was detected with a very badly H1N1 infection, just like COVID, in 2009. So for 26 days, I was on a ventilator. They gave me all sort of medications, steroids, everything that had been there. And when I woke up, I was completely unaware as to what medication had gone inside my body. However, I faced that these medication gave me they left so many side effects that I could not continue my normal life in the way I used to live. So if just yesterday, if this case would have happened, you feel like yesterday I was all well. How come I became so sick in just a day? So that was the story that happened. And when I related, this is not just my story. Around 41 million people are getting affected due to inflammation. See, any diseases, any sort of disorders, they all start with inflammation. So if we have anything that can suppress or that can reduce your inflammatory responses, your body will remain optimal. So that's when, being a microbiologist and biologist, I started reading about our Ayurvedic time knowledge that was there before, and how did they address it. And we found out that in India, we were very lucky to have all the ingredients, raw material growing locally. And that locally procured thing, which is compatible to their soil health also, if we make a supplements out of it, that can be compatible to the body in a very easy way, and it can help you to prevent it. So the three supplements that we designed initially, if you see, the first picture was of our Dudhi Jaljeera or a Loki Jaljeera. Now, just like a technological way of leading a journey, our journey, even in the food sector or the supplement sector, started the same way. We started with a prototype of what you see in the first picture. We tested it inside the lab. We got it. We did some sampling with some nutritionists and staff. When we saw that the product had a good potential, we wanted to test it in the real market to see, because when you start any business, you are not aware of all the aspects, regulatory, how the consumers will respond, what will be the aspect in your own organization, how much you would need, everything has to be seen. So then we thought that when the first product saw the prototype was getting good response in few small group, about 50 people, we thought of let us do some commercialization, so basic commercialization, so that we come to know that how the huge and larger market segment would respond. And that's how we designed our second packaging, where you see there are that was not just a completely as per the regulatory thing, but we wanted to test it in a larger area. So that's why we just did a simple packaging. When we saw that just this product is getting accepted not just in Gujarat, but also all over India, so we thought about getting it commercialized fully. And by 2021, we designed our new packaging, which has now got just a single serve sachet, and it has got more informative information about how the ingredients are helping. And as I just rightly before mentioned it also, that you see the functional food awareness, we took it on our packaging and we showed that how just Dudi or a Loki, what does Loki contain that helps you to reduce your diabetes or prevent your diabetes. We gave that information on our packaging and we launched it in by 2020. So we are right now there on all major e-commerce platform. We are present in Mumbai, then Pune and Gujarat, of course, and we are also looking to go in global markets right now. That's the reason why I'm not there in India right now. So these were the things that we saw that the products have an acceptability. Most important learning that we did in our journey was that you have to maintain your quality. Quality compromising, it will not help you to scale it up to a global market. So if your vision is to go global, do take care of your quality, do take care of your research. Today, the product has to be innovative if you want to sustain in the market. So there are a few challenges that we got in way back in 2015 when we just had ideated. At that time, it was just me, myself working, and around 16 products I developed it with the help of my two colleagues who were there initially. It was just our friends that we started. And then we saw those challenges was that how to bring awareness of the product inside the consumer's brain. Because after all, it is the consumer who's going to decide whether the company is going to grow or not. So that awareness was very important. There were regulatory challenges also, because in India, if you like, for example, even in spite you use all these ingredients that are helping you to give a good immunity responses, we have few restriction in names also, because we have to prove that how it does. So there has to be a scientific backing about it. You have to do a few tests and then prove it that this is how it is helping. So you need to understand all those regulatory requirements prior to doing all that, which we were not aware about, and we did it, and then we had to see that was the issue that we faced. So I always tell everybody who are upcoming, read your regulatory requirements and design it accordingly. Categorize your product. So categorization as a functional food was not available at that moment. Now it is there. So we have categorized it as a function. So that was few things. There were some in FMCG, because nutraceutical is very similar to FMCG also. So you have some very thin lines with that's what some challenges were there. COVID was, of course, unprecedented and unforeseen event that we had came all across. So at that time, manufacturing was the biggest issue, as when you are manufacturing health product, and if there are some employees who have contracted COVID, in spite you have all the regulations, guidelines followed, there are chances and risks that the product may get contaminated. So at that time, we had to be extra vigilant, and more of like offline sales that we used to do had to get switched over to online. So immediately within a year or two, we had to design it more on towards e-commerce platform website rather than just designing it for a physical stores. So that was there. Then there were some raw material costs that increased because of this COVID event. So that made your production cost increase, and thereby it gave a rise to your increase in the final product also cost. So these are the few challenges that you have to face and you would face in when you do any manufacturing. And right now the way that we see ourselves out is that you need to have more of your physical chain distributed and very resilient supply chain, because if you don't have a resilient supply chain, it is difficult to sustain in this market. So needing for a resilient supply chain, maintaining quality, export, you can of course, you if you have an export potential, it can go very well, and you will have a better prospect of sustaining it further. So those were a few challenges and things that we faced during our thing. In terms of RTC or RTE, what we say is ready to eat or ready to cook food, the global market size is growing tremendously with the CAGR of 7.7%, which is something that is completely a huge potential. Like, it's a challenge also and a huge potential. It's the two sides. The driving force for that is the young population, as I just mentioned before, that now people have to work, and after doing a 9 to 7 job, once they come back home, if you have a food which can be just popped inside a microwave, and it is nutritional, it is healthy, giving you a good quality, a feel like just a homemade food, then definitely this market segment is a very lucrative market segment for every upcoming businessman. And the channels for them, as I mentioned before also, that it is offline and online. You cannot just depend on one channel. You have to go both hand in hand. That was the learning that we saw during our business journey as well. So that was there. Creating a quality product at a competitive price is another challenge, because if you want to have a quality product, competing against an unorganized sector products is also a huge thing. So if you are making a brand, it is a quality that you are giving, but then you have to also see that how the consumer looked at the other brand or other product which are not branded, and they are competing. So you need to be very vigilant on how quality and your quality is getting foreseen by a consumer, as well as by the how you are able to retain those inside your business as well. Future of the nutraceutical industry and across globe, like right now I see that people are looking more for supplements, more for functional supplements, so as to prevent their healthcare cost, which is rising like anything. Like as per WHO report, 41 million people every year are dying because of this chronic disease like diabetes, cardiovascular, cancer, and obesity. So in such cases, and out of 41 million people, 38% comes from low and middle income countries like India. So we have a huge potential to grow this segment, provided we remain ethical and we maintain our quality and our claims that we do it on our packaging. That if we have a scientific backing to it, this products can work excellent inside India as well as across the globe. So this is what the future of nutraceutical industry is, very, very bright across both in India as well as in across the globe. So that's from my side, and I'm now open for any questions that you would like to have, and I'll just stop sharing my slide.
So thank you, Arpita. Indeed, very interesting inputs, both on practical side where you explained what are the challenges you have faced. You also spoke about a lot about the industry, how it is growing and what is the trend going on. So it was a good mix of your experience sharing and giving perspective about the market. Very interesting. I have one question or two questions rather to start with you, but I will try to finish it quickly because we have spoken so much about food products, and it's 12:30 time, lunch time, and I won't be in between audience and their lunch. So I'll ask, the first question is very simple, which says that, of course, we are talking about chronic disease and how it can be avoided by nutraceutical food. But then there's a small question that one of the audiences asks is, how useful it is for headache, say gastric, or a fever or cough and cold kind of situation.
Okay, so a cough and cold, fever, headache, everything is according to your inflammatory responses that are getting created inside your body. So in order to address that, that's where effervescent, if you see in our ancient time, jeera water, or sometimes even with the black pepper hot soup that mom and grandmas used to serve us when we had no medicine. So these are the natural foods that have been developed. That's the reason why going naturally and becoming more adapting our natural lifestyle with natural food is getting picked up. So these products help you to reduce those things because they are targeting to your inflammatory responses. Any pain signals that happens, it is because your body gets inflamed. If you see, even in this is not just in fever or headache, it is also there in arthritis. It is the inflammation that happens. So in order to target that inflammation, consuming an anti-inflammatory foods, which are very green vegetables, these are all this moringa, then spinach and stuff. If you consume it, all our spices, especially black pepper, cumin, fenugreek, if you consume that, millets, excellent way to consume your protein sources. So those are the things that if you consume it on a regular basis, you definitely can prevent all these issues that happens to your body.
Okay, thank you. The second question is about the difference between pharma and nutraceutical food. So if somebody wants to enter pharma, there are a lot of rules and regulations and policies and certifications, and it takes almost 2 years for somebody to start and start getting the sales. So how about nutraceutical foods?
That's where I said nutraceutical is far easier. Like you don't need so many certification. It is in pharmaceutical, it is FDA approval that you need, but in nutraceutical, you can just start with FSSI. So the FDA approval period and the FSSI approval period is very different. FDA takes 2 years because you have to do a lot of clinical trials. In pharmaceutical, you cannot eliminate clinical trials, whereas in nutraceutical, yes, you can go without doing any clinical trials because nutraceutical is a preventive. It is not a treatment. It is a preventive measure. That's the reason why it is easier to start off with a nutraceutical sector. And it is mainly it's mainly done doing extraction, and that's the reason why extraction process does not require that much. It's just extracting a supplement, like say for example iron or calcium or vitamins. So that's the reason why it is easier. Nutraceutical is far easier, and you can see the sales right happening within about 6 months of time. You can start doing your business, you know.
So it's a quick business where people will get a feel and then they can invest more and then have production.
You need to have a technical side also, because without technical you can't go through it. So you need those and that technical side will help you in also recognizing the regulatory aspects about what they require. So that's all. But their regulatory requirement is not that heavy as to what FDA has.
Okay. So we are heading towards the finish, but because we started a bit late, 5 minutes late, so we'll finish at around 12:35. So which gives me time to ask one question each from all the three speakers. So I'll start with Devrata. So Devrata, if I am an entrepreneur and I want to invest 1 crore and have a thing in mind that I should start getting the sales in 1 year, what are the 3 products that you would suggest?
From the plant-based meat industry?
Yes.
Okay, that's dicey. We are also figuring it out, but mostly I will suggest to go for raw meats, which is a very good demand in the B2B side, because the chef get the like space to do the creativity out of it. And secondly, ready to cook products, which is like comes like burger patty nuggets. So I'll go with that.
Okay, good. And the third one?
Burger patty nuggets and raw meats.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sethi sir, I have a question for you about how to do, where to do the R&D, research and development and product development, whether we should have researchers like Arpita hired, or whether it's investing in a company like Devrat's company, or would it be doing yourself? What do you recommend and why?
So you mean to ask where to do the research, right?
Or are there third parties available where we can buy that research and give
See,
some money?
the difference between India and abroad is that in the West, the research is led by the private sector, by the business organizations. In India, unfortunately, or you can say fortunately, that the government organizations and the institutions like NIFTEM, like IITs, I mean, they lead the research. So it is good as well as bad. It is good that it comes on a platter to you and you don't have to spend so much. And it's bad that they become a little sluggish because they're not led by business. So we have to bring in the best of both the worlds. So that means that there needs to be a virtual center of excellence, which PBFI is now developing, which would ensure that the startups don't have to pay through their nose to do the research, and it is continued to be funded by the government. But at the same time, there's a little bit of accountability and there's a little bit of demand for that research. I mean, they are not creating something in vacuum, which is also good that, you go without any agenda and without any objective. So hit upon very many great ideas. But at the same time, you also need to have somebody pushing you, pulling you that, give me this, I want to get this product right in such and such time. So our products, some of the products that our industry produces passes the blind test in an amazing way. And some of the products that Promit makes is so amazing. You must go and eat their or taste their products. So, but some of the products, sometimes a customer is able to find out, oh, no, this is not meat. This is something similar to meat, but this is not meat. So that's where we fail. So if we have to pass, we have to do amazing research with lipids, with spices, with seasonings, with various kinds of other ingredients which are needed to make sure that it's a meaty-like taste. Texture is very, very difficult, and ensuring that it has the right kind of mouthfeel, it has right kind of aroma, right kind of look, right kind of color. It should look the same way. Then only you can shift from the carnivores to the herbivores. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. If we will be doing something which replaces a hara bhara kebab and not really the kebab. And I would also like to answer your first question, Vikas, which you asked Devu. Actually, I'm going to give totally different products for people, that what is the kind of products that they should be doing. I feel that we should go high on kebabs, because this is something that India loves kebab. So why are we not making it? Second thing, I still feel that in dairy, there's a lot of work which needs to be done, because people are actually they're fed up of dairy, because it stinks, the milk stinks after one day, and they have their stinking tea. They want oat milk tea or soy milk tea or badam milk tea or something different. And within the milk category, because they are either lactose intolerant or they cannot see the cruelty which is meeting out to the male calf. So people are actually wanting to shift, and it's a huge sector. And we do not have the plant-based ice cream, which are amazing. Some ice creams like Nomu or White Cup are very good, but we need more of those flavors. And we need, plant-based butter like the way White Cup makes, or we need plant-based milk like the way Alt Food, OT, and some of these organizations in the country which they make. And we also need more such products, whether those are plant-based paneer. Nobody has come out with a plant-based paneer which is just like paneer. So tofu, we have a very good opportunity. We should work on that. But more than that, why not our own soya chop? I mean, what is wrong with that? Everything is ticking all the boxes. It's available at about 70-80 rupees a kilo, which is affordable. It is so yummy, so tasty. You go to Bikaner Wala or you go to some of these restaurants, you get amazing soya chop, especially in North India. If you go to any wedding, soya chop is available. So it's in my opinion, there is a unicorn which is waiting to happen just out of soya chop. So why are we not coming out with those products which India already loves? we don't need more nuggets, because nuggets are not so easy on our gut. We sometimes like to have nuggets with our drinks and with our other evening snacks, but not all the time. This is not staple. Nuggets cannot be staple for anyone, right?
Okay.
So I
Yes.
believe that because Debu is 24. At 24, they really like to eat a lot of burgers and a lot of these things. And I'm cross 50. I don't like burgers and nuggets. I want something which is very, very easy for the body.
Okay. Okay. So thanks for your inputs. Very interesting, which makes me more hungry. But before that, a question for Arpita. Arpita, two products, not considering investment, constraint or infrastructure constraint. What are the two products that we rely on for the next 10 years? If we have to enter and want to do business for next 10 years on those product lines, what are those two nutraceutical product lines that you would recommend?
The two nutraceutical product for next 10 years is see, nutraceutical products is like, there is one challenge that it is giving you a psychological stress. You are consuming medicines. So
Okay.
if you are able to tap it into a, a product which is like food, because Sanjay ji rightly mentioned that, see, we like to eat food. We don't like to eat medicines all the time. And it's the same thing with me. I don't like to eat medicines. I like to eat food, and that has to be natural food like chap and stuff, that gives me a feeling. So that's where I'll say that we need to develop such functional food where health is also there, and your nutraceutical aspect is there, and your texture aspect, everything is covered. It's a very ideal things that we are there. But yes, in terms of nutraceutical, gummies are getting highly recognized among kids. There are various flavors like strawberry, pineapple, banana, chocolate, so they love it. Gummies are there. And there is another thing which is going to be like hemp supplements, because that's more going to be popular among, like these people, young population. So for them, these two things will be there. For aging population or a middle-aged population, it will be more like a supplement drinks or some effervescent or stuff, because they always have this digestive and destructive issues. So for them, those things are going to be the next thing. So these are the two things that I see the
So
future
gummies
about.
and hump
Let me
supplement.
let me ask Aditi. Aditi, what is your favorite? Which product you would like to come up with?
Sir, just a second. I'm struggling to switch on my video. Yeah, so I think so I am a vegetarian. So I personally enjoyed the kebab a lot when I tasted it. Like you said, uh, it did not. Yeah, so I think that is one thing that I'd go for. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So with this, we come to the end of this session. Thank you all the speakers, Mrs. Sethi, Devrata, and Arpita. It was really very interesting to discuss with you. And of course, it was also a big learning for me because I'm not from this sector. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your valuable input. I'm sure that the audience found it interesting, and we will go to the next step on starting up something which is significant and making a change for the good. So yes, I will wish you a good afternoon and a good
thank you
evening
to
later. Yeah,
Aditi. Thank you to Aditi also.
yeah, thank sorry, I missed your name. So thanks to Aditi and also the organizing committee of Solution Buggy. So thank you. Have a good afternoon, good evening later. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
everyone.
all.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.